What's happening, Wargamers? Welcome to the meditations of Star Wars Shatterpoint, whatever episode this is, 14, I think. Mace and Anakin versus Obi-Wan and Luminara, and what a photo finish!
That final struggle was something.
Not even the final three activations, right?
Yep.
Like, it's just, like, after you did Cody and you just absolutely dummied Mace,
Yep.
I'm looking at this going, like, what can I do? Like, Anakin can't punch anyone over here. It's like, well, maybe I get lucky and Anakin comes over here and gets a reposition and goes over there and, woo for me. And I failed to get the reposition. So now I'm thinking, it's like, oh no, you have Obi-Wan left.
And then Obi-Wan comes and fails to take down Anakin.
You know what his problem is? It's just like in the movies. He just does not follow through, right? He
can't finish the job.
He left Anakin with one arm and that was it. Like he's just a husk on the ground, still waving his saber going, this is my spot. But oh my goodness. And then the 501st just coming through.
501st getting the best roll I've ever seen them have.
I don't think we've ever seen them get 4 successes.
That never happens.
Especially against a Jedi.
Yeah. And that was the worst part. Like, this was Obi-Wan. This was 6 dice with good surges, and I just got, I think my final roll was 3 expertise.
Something like that. Because you got rid of one of my crits, you got like another success in there, I think. Or no, you downgraded a crit, I think. I don't know.
Downgraded a crit to a fail and 2 blocks, I think is what I got.
And it's just, oh my goodness. Honestly, I was thinking, like, okay, maybe I get lucky and I push one more turn. Yeah. Right? I would be top decking, like I'd be reshuffling and all this sort of stuff. I'd be in a very interesting position.
Yeah.
But you had Cody? Or no, you had the 212th.
The 212th, which were pretty easily going. Well, because you put the 501st there, I was a little hesitant over whether I'd be able to flip the point.
I specifically did that because it meant that if you go after the 212 or Anakin, like there's still the healthy 501st. You go after the 501st, there's still a healthy Anakin, right?
Yeah, like the plan was going to be to move, like at least this one could get to the ladder and chill over there, and then the other one would just take a shot at, probably at this point Anakin was down to 3 health, so he was probably my target.
Yeah. Although Protection and Steadfast has been doing work for me this game.
Yeah, no, I mean, realizing that Mace Windu gets to keep that when he's wounded is really annoying, because that's like...
Yeah, because he doesn't cease to be engaged.
You can't turn it off. There's no way to turn that ability off other than just shoving him to the middle of nowhere, but with Steadfast, very hard to do.
Yeah, and because engage doesn't technically turn off, it just says you can't do certain things when engaged, right? Like, you're not forcing somebody to dash instead of advance anymore, and you're not contesting objectives.
Also, this little nook that you were able to put him in just made him impossible. Even when I did have shoves, I can't get rid of him.
Okay, so that was completely unintentional. When I put Mace in there, I didn't think it would actually be that instrumental.
It was massive, though. I couldn't touch him.
He just hung out there like he was an anchor.
Yeah.
Well, that makes him sound bad. He was my anchor, I guess. Like he pretty much kept me in place. He kept me in the game.
No, he was incredibly annoying to deal with this game. I couldn't get any damage thrown on him for the longest time. I was plinking him for like at best 1 damage. And then finally Cody was able to come
explodes.
out. Here's the extra 6 we need. Which is nice to see Cody doing something, because unfortunately he felt kind of bad most of this game as well. He was kind of never someone I actually wanted to activate until he was.
Yeah, you struggled quite a bit whenever like Cody come up. It's like, I don't know if I want to do this. So.
Yeah, well, honestly, the 212th I always think are fine. Throwing out pins and stuff like that's really good. But the commandos kind of... The pins were huge. The pins were massive at keeping Anakin in check and to some degree even Mace. But the rest of the clones just didn't feel like they were pulling their weight. Cody, unfortunately, like we just said, didn't really want to do his things too often. And the commandos just, I don't know what it is, but they felt very pillow-fisted this game.
They feel like they're lacking something.
I mean, I'm looking at them, and I'm looking at your ARF troopers and pawns and all the stuff that they were doing from where they were.
And the ARFs are just so much better.
They weren't even on a point the entire game. They were just plinking shots up, and I mean, they took down Luminara.
Yeah, the ARFs got a lot of work done, and like you didn't put anything into the ARFs yourself.
No, I mean, they were never on a point, so I never had a reason to, right?
Like the pawns and the ARFs just kind of sat back here, just going like, well, we're just going to do whatever we need to do here, and they got a lot of work done, and Mace just in the middle. I got to say, Anakin did so much work.
I mean, he took Ahsoka off the table
twice
before, like she was off the table, partway through the second struggle, right?
Yeah, because what was it? You activated with a shatter point and then
immediately got her again after you wounded her,
and which meant I was like, well, Anakin just rolls around again. It's like, all right, well, I guess we're doing this again.
Yeah, and like Ahsoka was basically off the table super early this game, and
which was huge for me.
Yeah, and as it is with Ahsoka, once she's taken 1 wounded token, she doesn't really like existing anymore. more so.
No, and just having one of your most mobile pieces just knocked out that early on was just a huge boon for me there.
Luminara was a little disappointing. I know I missed a couple of her triggers, but
we tried to catch up whenever we could on that one.
Yeah, like I'm even thinking like at the end, oh no, recovers wouldn't have done anything for me.
She really likes Mace. She likes to work with Mace quite a bit. I want to see how she works with Plo Koon when he finally hits.
That'll be interesting, yeah.
Actually, I think she probably works well with Anakin too. I think Kenobi is kind of like the one Jedi where maybe she doesn't see the most synergy with.
The idea with Kenobi was supposed to be I'm going to have all these hunkers, so you're going to have a hard time dealing damage, and then when you do, I can heal it up. But that didn't really end up playing out like that. A lot of the times when you decide to fight something, you just one-shot it. There was very few times I actually healed anything with her.
I mean, yeah, well, that's what Anakin did, right? Like, Anakin got 4 activations, and he wounded somebody every single time without having to spend force.
Yeah, and that was the big thing, was he wasn't taxing your force economy as much as he would usually do. And that was partially just the fact that my dice this game were atrocious, and Anakin's dice were insanely high.
Yeah, your curve was really harsh early on. Like, your curve started coming back near the end of the game, but by that point I had kind of built up quite a bit of momentum. But now, having said that, even with all that momentum, like, you came dangerously close to stealing the game from me.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it comes down to kind of that near the end activation where, like, you almost had it, and if you had flipped Anakin there instead of Obi-Wan, if that had been the top card of your deck, I think the game would just ended there.
I quite possibly, because I think at that point Anakin goes back this way to deal with Obi-Wan at that point, because I had the power to do my this is where the fun begins.
Yep.
And you were within range for me to expose you.
Yep.
So I had a very good chance of taking out Obi-Wan, which means I would hold this point, I think, for like a round or two, maybe.
Yeah.
Which could have been enough, right?
No, for sure. I mean,
Not to mention, everyone on my team would recover if I took out Obi-Wan.
Yep.
So everyone would just get like a health back or get rid of a condition or something like that.
No, Anakin was absolutely huge for this, and while Mace was a crucial part in keeping your team alive and basically saying I wasn't allowed to touch the center, pulling him near the end there was really unfortunate, and it almost gave me a chance to come back.
It didn't almost give you a chance.
Well, sorry, it gave me a chance.
It gave you,
and then Obi-Wan kind of whiffed that chance.
I went with Mace, and I'm just like, okay, I can't screw this up, and I'm looking after Mace, going, oh no, I'm in trouble. But it's kind of interesting. Mace basically was he was like the fulcrum for my entire team, and Anakin was walking up going, "We surrender." Oh, there's the tactical droid. Committing war crimes and doing what he does there. But geez, what? Okay, so I'm gonna say this. I think this has been one of the more exhilarating final struggles.
For the final struggle, I 100% agree with that. The first chunk of the game, I felt like it was very predictable. I honestly, for most of this game, didn't feel like I had an opportunity to come back.
You had a really rough go of it, but you really, you taking the second struggle, and then you were able to get a little bit of momentum into the third one. It was a very entertaining tail end of the game, I think. Because I agree with you. I think the first part of the game, it was very, because I've been in that position, right?
Oh yeah.
It's very hard to kind of keep that energy up. So
yeah, like first struggle and even the second struggle, like I won the second struggle, but that's kind of the usual for this game, is the winner of the first loses the second. So even throughout the second one though, I'm looking at the board and I'm just kind of thinking like, I don't see the third struggle going well for me unless things go very well for me.
Yeah. And you know what? Obi-Wan got some work done for you.
He did. Obi-Wan came in near the end and he made up for failing to do anything to Mace before. He came in, I think he dummied Rex, and then unfortunately was a little shy on Anakin. If he'd gotten that extra 3, it would have been game.
Man. And the fact that I was exposed on that one as well. Like, it's like,
No, and then unfortunately he whiffed a little there. I think I had like 3 or 4 fails in that attack. Which was kind of the story of Obi-Wan today in general.
It gave me breathing room.
Yeah.
Right? It gave me that shot. And as soon as I recognized, like, well, the 501st get a reposition, that's never going to happen.
Yeah, what? 501st getting more than 2 successes? That never happens. And then it happens right when you need it.
Yeah, no kidding. It was like, well, okay then. They finally came through. Well, anyway, Jason, as always, I always have fun with this one. And I like that we both seem to be getting better and learning and all this sort of stuff. And I'm not going to lie, it's a little nice to get a win under my belt.
Yeah.
So I think we've kind of discussed the game enough, and hopefully everyone watching enjoyed this game. Actually, there's one more point I want to point out. The attrition in this game. I'm looking at, on your side, I see Luminar with 2 wounded tokens. I see Ahsoka just gone. Your Commandos with 1. Your 212th with 1. Cody with 1.
Yep.
Meanwhile, on my side, you actually just a fair bit of attrition.
Towards the end, I started hitting attrition back a little harder.
So.
I had one on Mason and Skywalker. I had one on Rex in the 501st.
Who I was avoiding activating for that whole bloody struggle.
Yep.
Oh, man. But yeah, so anyway, as always, man, I had a lot of fun playing with you. Yeah. So looking forward to the next time. Hopefully everyone else had fun watching. We will see you next time. Happy wargaming.